Hi there, we're looking at a MasterGMAT sentence correction question today, and obviously in order to try it yourself, you may want to pause the recording and unpause it when you're ready to listen to the explanations. So if you want to try it, go ahead and pause the recording now. Okay, welcome back. Now, of course, as you know, in our work order, the first thing we do is look for between 0 and 2 errors in the underlined portion of the sentence. Of course, using the non-underlined here, we don't have to worry about that much, but this is maybe a little bit tricky for some. Now, do we notice any grammatical problems straight away? Well, probably not. Let's assume we do not. Let's go through this a little bit, and actually, since we don't see anything, we'll skip A for now, and let's start at the bottom with E, just for the hell of it. Alright, so it says that what really changes over here? Take a look at the original sentence. You have visit the floating, uniquely beautiful city of Venice versus will visit the floating, uniquely beautiful city of Venice. Now, the difference is basically that here we have a conjugated verb and here we do not. Well, it can be the present simple, but in this case it isn't, as you can probably tell. So why is that? Is E correct or incorrect? Now pay attention that we have the verb recommends followed by that. Now when we have words like recommend, suggest, and so forth, we have actually 9 verbs that clearly show us that we need a subjunctive mood after the that. And what follows over here is not a subjunctive mood, it's a conjugated verb. What we mean by the subjunctive mood here is basically we want an unconjugated base form verb. The first verb that should follow one of these words like recommend or suggest, followed by that, the verb that follows that should be in base form. And here it's not in base form, it's actually a conjugated verb. So that is wrong right away. It's actually the only answer choice that does this. So wrongful use of the subjunctive mood. So we can get rid of E just based on that. Now, since there are no real grammatical mistakes in the rest of the answer choices, the next steps we need to take is look for things like stylistic errors first, redundancies, ambiguities, for example. Then we look for things like meaning changes, and then for elements like sentences that do not fit into the original sentence. So let's look for those as we go along. Let's go back to A. Maybe every travel guide that contains reference to Italy recommends, well, everything here looks good except pay attention, okay? The word maybe is actually considered very weak in the GMAT. It's not a preferred word. If you can find another answer choice that is both grammatically and stylistically correct in other ways, and doesn't use the word maybe but uses a word like probably, would be a good word to use, for example, then you choose that answer choice. Okay, so we're looking for words like probably, possibly, perhaps, instead of the word maybe over here. Okay, so tentatively we get rid of this because everything else seems to be okay. Let's go to B. Now, in B, it does correct, as you can see. It gets rid of the maybe, so that's okay. However, by getting rid of the maybe and not replacing it with something more appropriate, this actually changes the meaning of the sentence, because when we say that something is maybe like something else, or possibly or probably, we mean that there is a chance as opposed to a categorical yes or no. So this indeed changes the meaning of the sentence. We do not accept that in the GMAT, of course. Get rid of that. Now, C actually fixes the maybe by putting in perhaps, which is a lot stronger, more preferred in the GMAT. And the subjunctive, let's just check that, is obviously correct. It's in a base form over here, your V1. It's not conjugated, especially following the verb recommends over here. So let's keep that for now. And in D, let's take a look at what happens over here. Again, it fixes the maybe, which is great. We don't have a problem of subjunctive. There's no meaning change over here. However, take a look at what happens at the end. To visit the floating city, uniquely beautiful city of Venice. Well, over here we actually have a sentence that doesn't fit into the original. Okay, it doesn't make sense to visit the floating city, uniquely beautiful city of Venice. Okay, we can't have that little phrase at the end. It doesn't fit in to anything over here. It's a strange little modifier, so or a strange little phrase. So we can get rid of that because simply that underlined portion does not fit into the rest of the sentence. Obviously, you always have to make sure that the underlined portion fits into the non-underlined portion, even if everything else is fixed. Very, very tricky. Okay, and you can actually see if you want, a lesson summary over here, and you have a few of them. Okay, to tell you how to attack certain things like the word maybe. Okay, just to remind you of what you're supposed to look at, or even the subjunctive rule, which tells us, if you recall, that all these words followed by that require the subjunctive mood. Okay, so this is a cool little feature we have. And let's go back to C over here. Indeed, that's the answer that's left standing, and it should be correct. Let's click on that. We have our time awareness tool. We don't need it right now, obviously, because we took longer than 3:30, but all right, it explains everything very concisely, why the maybe is wrong, and it revisits subjunctive mood just so it's in your head very, very well. Okay, so next time we're going to see you with a subjunctive question, probably sometime this week, is actually going to be a little bit trickier. Okay, so until then, bye-bye.